Donald Trump and his supporters have been smiling ear to ear ever since the Supreme Court ruled that a president has immunity when it comes to official acts. But that celebration may have been a bit premature. According to a breaking story in the Washington Post, sources at the Department of Justice have a brand new plan to deal with Donald Trump. This is a major escalation and enters uncharted territory. I'll tell you all about it coming right up. Earlier this week, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that the president has immunity when conducting official acts of the office. Now, this is terrifying because somebody like Donald Trump can get into the White House and just say everything they're doing is an official act and they can't be charged criminally for it. The office of the presidency from now on will depend on the morals and character of the individual holding that office. And now the fallout from the Supreme Court's decision on presidential immunity has already claimed one victim. Donald Trump was set to be sentenced on July 11th for his New York conviction. But now Judge Juan Merchan has announced that he will delay that sentencing in order to review the case to see if this presidential immunity ruling has any impact on that. So Donald Trump's not going to be sentenced until September 18th. And Judge Juan Merchan has hinted that it may not even be necessary. Now, I don't want to freak people out because it's highly unlikely that anything changes about Donald Trump's New York conviction because of this immunity ruling. These were crimes committed before he was president, so I'd say these convictions are pretty safe. Though Trump's lawyers will try to argue that he conducted some of the actions like signing checks to send them to Michael Cohen while he was the president. But I don't think that had an impact on the conviction or the jury's decision, so it's not going to make a difference. But Donald Trump has successfully delayed his sentencing until at least mid-September. And Donald Trump's Georgia case has been delayed until at least October as an appeals court considers the presiding judge's ruling to not disqualify Fani Willis as the prosecutor. Then we've got the two federal cases, starting with the documents case. That case has been postponed forever because the judge keeps entertaining nonsensical motions from the defense lawyers that any other judge would have ruled on and dismissed long ago. And finally, we've got the federal case against Donald Trump for trying to overturn the election. Now, that case has been waiting on this specific ruling related to immunity. That judge can now move forward, but they're going to have to sort through how much of that case can remain because it depends on what's an official act and what is a personal act by Donald Trump when he committed these crimes. And there will be tons of motions, there will be appeals, it'll probably even go all the way back to the Supreme Court again. So you can see a pattern here. It's all about delay, delay, delay. Donald Trump knows he has no chance of beating these cases, or at least all of them. The best he can do is just delay them until he becomes president by some miracle through the election, and then he can try to dismiss the charges or force judges to not move forward with the trials until he's out of office in 2029. The Justice Department has been operating this whole time under a time constraint. They know that if Donald Trump is elected president, they'll no longer be able to pursue him. There's a long-standing rule at the DOJ that you cannot criminally charge a sitting president. So they have up until Election Day if he somehow wins. But according to a breaking story in the Washington Post, sources at the Department of Justice are now saying that they will continue their pursuit of justice even after Election Day if Donald Trump wins. That means between November 5th and when he's sworn in on January 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern, the DOJ will continue to pursue their cases. And that is uncharted territory right there. I guarantee Donald Trump was banking on that November 5th deadline, that there is no world in which the DOJ would continue to pursue these charges against him if he were to become the president-elect on that day. But Jack Smith said, I got news for you, champ. We are pursuing justice all the way up until the last minute. We don't care that this is unprecedented. You are going to be held accountable. That's the type of fight that I like. Now, can you imagine if Donald Trump is convicted and sentenced before he is sworn in as president of the United States? That means he could serve as our president from a prison cell. This is just ludicrous. And this is another reason why I don't think Donald Trump can win the presidency. I do not believe my fellow Americans will elect a convicted felon to be the president of the United States. I don't care if Joe Biden struggled to make his point during a 90-minute debate. That does not negate 3.5 years of hard, good work by this man. I'll take the guy who struggled to get out his point but was telling the truth the whole time over the guy who ran his mouth lying the entire debate and is a convicted felon and could be on his way to prison by the time he becomes president. Now, don't get me wrong, it is going to be a tough re-election for Joe Biden and all the Democrats. Every single presidential election is. It's never easy. But thankfully, the Department of Justice is stepping up and saying we will continue to pursue justice all the way until the last minute if Donald Trump is reelected by some miracle. So that means the rest of us have to step up to the plate. And we got a long time between now and November. 4 months is an eternity in the world of politics. So it's time to step up. It's time to get behind Joe Biden. And it's time to get this man across the finish line.